First off, apologies if I'm a little bit hoarse. Full disclosure, smoked a couple times over the weekend and now my throat is fucked. Good job me. So anyway, I went and saw Rocketman yesterday, which I was so stoked and excited to see, and I'm so glad I went and saw it in the theater. This may be almost a record for me for the soonest I've seen a movie after it hit theaters. I think I saw one movie the day it came out, and that was like the live action Beauty and the Beast. Other than that, I think this is the fastest I've seen one, like 2 days after it came out. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so I went with my sister, who was actually, like, the way she talked about, I think she may have even possibly been more excited than me to see this, which, that's saying something, because I freaking love Elton, and I didn't even know she liked him that much, so, um, true story, Elton John was my first celebrity crush, so I was really stoked to see what exactly they would do with this, what angle they would take, how much is fact, how much is fiction, which, I mean, with these biopic-type movies, I'm usually the queen of sitting there and nitpicking them to death. So I was expecting, there's a fair chance that I'll end up doing that during, like, a good degree of it. But, I actually really didn't much this time. So anyway, we went to the matinee showing because it was only, like, $6, so hell yeah for saving money. That may be how I go see that Beatles-inspired movie yesterday at the end of the month, and probably Toy Story 4. And who knows what else, now that I know it can be done that cheaply, so, because that's usually the only reason I don't go see movies in the theater is it's too damn expensive, but for $6 I can do that, so, anyway, I'm kind of babbling, but, so, we went and we saw the 1:30 showing of it, as if that matters, and I was surprised that it was, like, almost a full house. And this seemed like such a perfect movie to go see on, like, the second day of Pride Month, anyway. And I felt like it was, like, a blessing from above that we were sitting next to, like, the cutest little gay guy couple that, like, made out during most of the movie, which was adorable, other than them making out during the suicide scene. I mean, like, might want to tone it down during that, but otherwise, really cute. But anyway, so one thing going into it that for some reason, I don't know why I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. Like, I was, but not in the way that they went about it. I was kind of surprised that it was, like, a musical. Obviously, I knew it was going to have a lot of Elton's music in it, but the way they did it, it was, like, a musical kind of in the same way that, like, Across the Universe was a musical, like, in that kind of a feel with it. At least for the first half, it felt more like that. By the second half, it was turning more into, like, performances and recreations of music videos and such. But, like, the earlier parts of it, it straight up reminded me of Across the Universe, which isn't a bad thing. But I just, like, totally caught me by surprise, especially the, what was it? Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting scene, which was a really good scene, but definitely caught me off guard, just the particular angle they took with it. I was like, okay, this is interesting. One thing that I did notice throughout was, like, the forced racial inclusion thing just for the sake of doing it sort of a deal. I was like, oh god, it's one of these. Alright. When you do it organically, it's one thing. When you're doing it just to show off, look, we totally included a black person here because we're not racist. It's like, you kinda are, though. But anyway, so, I don't know, it didn't really make itself noticeable until the aforementioned scene. There was a part with a bunch of, people, I can't say Indian, but Middle Eastern descent, doing, like, the Arms of Vishnu thing to Indian-esque sounding music. I was like, ouch, okay, that was a little cringy, but I get that they were trying to give a vibe of the 60s, but so did you just, like, cram an entire decade into one song? Because, like, where we started out, we had, like, the mods and rockers fighting. Next we have, like, 60s mod girl fashionistas dancing to it. Next thing we have, like, Indian guru-esque type people. I was just like, wait, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing in this scene? We are all over the place, apparently. What decade is this supposed to be? Like, he has his, like, Elvis hair. This should be, like, very beginning of the 60s. What are we doing? like, that was, like, one of my only sort of little nitpicky things, really, with it. I mean, I hate to be that person, but I mean, I love the song, though, so I can't complain too much. It's one of my all-time favorite Elton songs, so, I do like that they completed the film with my favorite Elton song, but getting there. Factually, they actually were a lot more accurate than I was expecting them to be, but there were a couple things where I was like, that's not quite how that happened. I mean, obviously the big one is the rehab stint, which is kind of the cornerstone of the film, and mostly it's for framing this, otherwise we'd have, like, a 5-hour movie or some shit, but, it, like, starts and ends with him in rehab. Like, he shows up in, like, his bejeweled devil costume, and as he's letting down his barrier and telling his story, he's taking it off piece by piece, and sort of, like, letting down the Elton John persona to just be Reginald Dwight, the person, by the end of it, so he can, like, hug his inner child. I don't know, it's sweet when you actually watch it. It sounds stupid saying it out loud, but actually watching it, it does, in fact, fit, but factually, I was like, Elton didn't go to rehab till, like, 1990, but because the way that they kind of played it out, it almost seems like he went to rehab, and then he had a big comeback with I'm Still Standing, which I'm like, oh no, he was very much still in the middle of his vices when he did that one, but, who am I to judge? Like I said, this is a little bit cinematic framing just to make it flow better, and I get that. Most people probably don't care that much, but Elton's pretty near and dear to my heart, so I was like, okay, I'll allow it, but right up there with, how he came to the name Elton John, they got it, like, half correct. They got the Elton half of it, of the story of how he came up with the stage name correct, but the John part, he did not get from John Lennon. Like, they show him look at a picture of the Beatles on the wall and suddenly, yeah, Elton John. It's like, no. Just like he got Elton from one of his bandmates and borrowing their name, he got the John from another one of his bandmates. Throwing it out there. Sorry, it's not as just, ooh, look at the thing, like it was the way they did it in the film, but again, given these were, like, my only big nitpicky things of the entire film, I really can't complain too hard, because normally, every little thing I am sitting there bitching about, so, but this time I was just like, even the costumes, I'm sitting there like, holy crap, they got that, like, exactly perfect on all of these, like, one after the other. I'm just like, is anyone else here appreciating the wardrobe department for this film and just how spot on they were for all of it? I mean, there was maybe, like, one that wasn't quite up to par. That was, like, his, the Queen Elizabeth, or Queen Victoria, whichever, regalia that he wore on stage. I mean, they got the vibe of it, but if you check it side by side with photos of the real thing, it's like, not quite. I mean, for as detailed as you were on the others, you didn't quite get it here. But all the others are, like, freaking perfect. Fucking perfect, guys. And another little thing that I did notice just while watching it, that kind of amused me. I don't know why it amused me so much, but it did. We all know how some of Elton John's lyrics are, like, some of the most misheard lyrics of all time. I mean, Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza is, like, one of, I think that's, like, the title of a book of misheard lyrics, if I'm not mistaken. They made sure to enunciate all the words in all the songs, so there would be no mishearing things, which, okay, fair enough, but it seemed like they were doing it on purpose to make sure you had noticed they were doing it, and I was like, it's almost jarring just how much they're enunciating it in certain spots, like in Benny and the Jets. Nobody's mishearing the line is, she's got electric boobs, a mohair suit. It's like, no, it's boots, and you hear that they are definitely saying boots with a T. So I was like, well, that's a little less fun than mishearing it, but okay. But no, they actually got it really spot on. They included, like, all his demons and everything. They, like, barely touched on the bulimia one. Like, they kept that for the very end for, like, maybe a 1-minute scene and was basically never acknowledged again. It got one mention in the beginning of the film when he's listing off his vices, and that one scene that showed it for like a second, and then they didn't touch it again. Okay. Like, I know for a fact this was a bigger deal than that, because I remember listening to like a 3-hour-long radio interview with Elton in the 90s, where he was talking about his life story. I listened to every word of it, and he spent a good while talking about that specifically. I don't know why that point stood out in my brain so much of that interview, but that's why I was like, well, I don't know how you would really go about it in a film to include that more, but I mean, for as much as they were over the top with the drug use increasingly throughout the film, which I guess makes for better movie making, really. I mean, I'm sure I would rather watch him doing a bunch of blow than throwing up, so there is that. But a few parts were kind of like, what are we doing here? My sister could not hold her tongue when I think it was the scene at the Troubadour, and he does like his signature, like he's playing the piano and does his like high kick thing. They did it in hella slow motion, and she leans over, she whispers, and suddenly it's a movie about demonic possession. And I lost my shit. I just like straight up lost my shit. I cannot even see a still photo of it now without still losing it over that. Perfect timing. But anyway, yeah, they like stretched it out way too damn long on that. So I was like, your editing could have been a little better there. But other parts were like really good with the way that they edited them, even though it was more creative license than how they really went. That's okay. It worked for the film. There was one song in it. I have to wonder if it was written for the film, because it was the only one in the whole thing I didn't recognize. And it was the one towards the beginning that has his entire family singing, like, different verses of it. It sounds too oddly too oddly specific to have not been written for the film to fit for that scene, so I'm gonna have to look that up. But everything else I recognized. Although it was funny with Pinball Wizard, my sister also leans over and, I thought this was by The Who. And I was like, it was. You've seen Tommy. He was the Pinball Wizard. And she's like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's like, yeah, no shit, that's why they have it here. And I was very happy with their inclusion of that in the film, especially since our seats were smack dab in the middle of the theater, right on the end, right next to the speaker. I was like, fuck yes! So, was quite enjoying that. But just their attention to detail on so many things, though, just blew my mind, but especially with the wardrobe. But the ending of it, where they end it with I'm Still Standing, they essentially recreated the music video. Scene by scene, shot by shot, all the costumes, everything. There's like a couple things I noticed that were off a little bit, like in the really quick shots of his face with the different sunglasses on. I did notice, just because I have a sunglasses collection, and a lot of them I've bought because they were inspired by Elton. I did notice that some of these were not the same ones that were in the video. These were totally different artistic license. We did this so fast, probably nobody in their right mind's ever gonna notice. Yeah, well, I noticed, so. He did not have a pair of peace sign glasses in that video, just saying, but I kind of want them. But anyway, but I was still hella impressed with the way they did it, nonetheless. So I was, like, starting to question after all. I was like, wait, are we just watching the music video? No, that's not Elton, that's the actor. Oh, shit. Are they superimposing him into the real video? Because it looks that spot on. And I came home, and I wanted to find the exact scene to check them side by side, but as of right now, as of recording this, the only one that's online is just a video somebody shot with their cell phone, and wasn't the whole video. So I really couldn't yet. So as soon as somebody has that up, I'll do a proper side-by-side comparison. But regardless, I was super damn impressed with it. I was also really impressed with their casting choices for, like, the little boy of Elton. Damn, he looked just like little Elton. Like, oh my god, I think it's the kid from that commercial from around Christmas time for some piano company that used Elton John's songs in it and basically showed his life. And we're trying to sell pianos, like, yeah, you could raise the next Elton John, basically. But, yeah, that, I give the gift of music. But, that, They cast really well for that. I was originally iffy on the guy who was playing adult Elton until he gets to the older years, and I was like, oh, okay, now I see it. Now he looks, like, almost spot on. But as younger Elton, I'm like, I mean, kind of. I mean, he's closer to look like Peter Allen. I mean, close enough. I mean, I know it's not going to be exact. Can we talk about the one, like, not record producer, but the guy who works for the record producer, the first one? Totally looked like he could play Paul McCartney in some biopic. Just saying, just throwing it out there. If nobody's thought of casting this man as that, they totally should consider it, because he looks like Paul. There was also a guy in one of the early bands he was in the film. Also looks like he could play Paul McCartney. Whatever part of the world they were grabbing these people from, introduce me to them, please. Anyway, so I was very, very interested with that. One thing, though, that I initially thought they got wrong, but then I fact-checked and was like, wait, oh, I was wrong. I was always under the interpretation. I was always under the assumption that Bernie Taupin and Elton were a thing. No, apparently Bernie is very much straight, and I don't know where I got that notion from, but, yeah, that. I mean, in the film, he flat out shoots him down. This is why I was like, wait, is this artistic license, or have I been wrong my entire life about Bernie? And apparently I've been wrong my whole life about Bernie, so that's the thing. But, while they were talking at the very start of the film about the two of them, and songwriters who don't live together, I mean, Lennon and McCartney are inseparable. I almost felt like it's like a subtle nod to, like, the whole Mick Lennon thing. I was like, oh no, come on, don't go there, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. Give that its own film, don't do it here. But yeah, I was just like, wait, I'm very confused now. And of all the times for my cell phone to not have frickin' data service available, it was not working. I couldn't fact check, like, inside my phone, or inside my purse real quick to see if this was a thing, so I had to wait till I got home to check it. I was very frustrated with that, but apparently I was wrong on that one, so. But overall, I really liked it, though. Like, a lot. I know I was seeing people on Twitter saying that they actually liked this more than Bohemian Rhapsody, and I still need to see Bohemian Rhapsody, and now I'm like, did I just fuck myself over on Bohemian Rhapsody, and now it's gonna suck compared to Rocketman, and I'm not gonna like it as much because I watched Rocketman, and apparently it's better? Maybe! At least with Bohemian Rhapsody, if they're factually inaccurate, I won't know as well on that one, because with Queen, I know the music real well. I don't know their lives real well, though. I know a little bit with Freddie, and that's about it, so. Anyway, but with Elton, I was like, I know this territory a lot better, so. This one, I'm a little protective over, so. Anyway. Anywho. Generally, I really liked it, though, and I would highly recommend you go see it. Even if you're not necessarily a fan of Elton's life, and you're just into his music, I think you'd still enjoy it, just because it is permeated with his music throughout the entire thing. And it is an interesting watch, either way, even if you're not, like, really, like, into the biopics thing. I feel like it was kind of halfway between a biopic and halfway, song musical, like, across the universe. I know I keep comparing it to that, but that is the vibe I got from the whole thing. I'm trying to ignore that phone, it's really annoying. Anyway, thank you, whoever got it. But anyway, so, that was a thing. What would I rate it? I'm trying to think. I think I would rate it probably a 4.5 out of 5 stars, me personally, just because there's a few things I would have done differently for what was included and what wasn't, because there was a few pretty big exclusions in this film that I was like, that should have been in there. Especially for the years we're covering, why was this not in there? But I realized probably just because time constraints and pacing and just how they want to edit. If there's like a director's cut that's longer with some of this stuff in it, I'd like to see it sometime. But, yeah, that. So, I don't know. That is the only reason why I wouldn't give it, like, the perfect 5. Well, that and the fact that just at the beginning it felt more like song musical and then turned into biopic, like, partway through, with no real warning when it was switching from one to the other. Because I went into it, it's like, I was expecting it to be more of a biopic. and got song musical at the beginning, so alright, fine, I got my head around that and was finally getting used to the idea of that, and then it swapped to the other. I was like, oh, now I have to change gears again back to the other that I went into this expecting in the first place. So, you know, there's that. Just saying, if it had been a smoother transition between the two and been more seamless, I probably would give it a perfect 5 rating. For those of you who are less persnickety than me, you'd probably go ahead and give it that 5, though, I think, so. I'm just a little bitch, so. Although, now that I mentioned that word, that is another thing I have to mention that just was odd, hearing a small child sing this song. Little kid Elton singing "The Bitch Is Back." I kind of had flashbacks to my own childhood of being about that tiny and singing that song and getting in hella trouble for saying that word over and over and over. But, it's just like, oh, hey, well, apparently someone else's parents were okay with letting their kids sing that, at least in a movie. Mine weren't exactly okay with this. I kind of just did it anyway whenever I heard the song, but yeah, that. But it's just like, oh, this is odd hearing it come from a little kid now that I'm not the little kid doing it. But anyway, but yeah, it's a good movie. I think you'd like it. Fair warning, it is an R-rated film, which I didn't know going into it. I'm over 17, that doesn't really matter. I just didn't realize going in that it was rated R. So, I'm more curious how a couple little kids got into this film being under 17, but there were 2 little kids watching it, so I was like, okay, well, hope their parents have a fun time explaining the sex scene to them, so there's that. But, anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it regardless. It's a good movie. They did very well on most of their fact-checking for their homework. Like I said, there was only a few points out of the whole thing that I really had any issue with, so that's pretty good, because usually it's like every 30 seconds I find something that I'm making notes on that is inaccurate, and I'm just like, nah, they did it wrong, they did it wrong, they did it wrong the whole time, and it's distracting to me. This one I did not have that problem with, so bravo to them. So, anyways, I'm kind of babbling. It's been almost half an hour, so I'm gonna shut up now. Anyways, you guys know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe. Hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload. Leave comments down below. Have any of you guys seen Rocketman yet? If so, what did you guys think of it? If you haven't seen it yet, is it something that you're planning on seeing? Let me know. Are you an Elton fan? Do you like his music? Do you not like Elton? Do you have anything about anything at all you feel like leaving me? Go ahead and leave it all in the comments. Make sure you're following my social media accounts. They're all listed down below. My Facebook fan page, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Etsy. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. So anyway, guys, until next time, see ya.